everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Raphael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Raphael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Richard, my friend, how are you this morning?
Awesome, Sifu. It's so good to be here again. Love it.
I'm enjoying the connection that you and I have made. But, for me, that's why I love this show in particular, because it allows me to get to know who you are on a deeper level. What I mean by that is that we're going to go back to your childhood. And this is probably my favorite question because it kind of gives us an idea who you are today, right? And to me, I think it's where we grew up, one, and two, who were your biggest influencers before the age of 10. And then we'll go from there. Let's hear it, my friend.
Okay. Wow, going back. Yeah, so my childhood was interesting. Let's just say we moved around a lot. Okay, so at last estimate, it was something like 35 or 40 homes before I got out of high school. Okay, so let's talk about that. What do you think that does to a kid? Okay, so do you think you have attachment issues? You don't get attached to very much. Okay, that's for sure. A lot of other stuff, struggles. My mother, she's passed away now about, 15 years ago, but she was rough. I mean, she had a bad childhood herself and all the stuff, right? I don't have any, I've forgiven her of everything, right? All that stuff I've let go, right? So there's none of that, right? But it was rough. It was tough. Okay. So I grew up that way. Again, moving, doing this, maybe every school I went to every 6 months or whatever it was like I'd find one friend, right? And that's it. That's all I needed. I'm like, okay, I got one person I connect with. So I was never the popular kid, okay, at all.
How could you? You weren't there long enough.
Right. But I don't know. I have a 17-year-old son. The guy can be popular in like 30 seconds. I don't know. He's just got the gift, Everywhere you go, people know him. Me, I've been here forever and no one knows me. No, I'm just kidding. People know me. But it became something that when you begin to develop at that age and then you move around a lot, I started to really get into self-entertaining, right? Like that's kind of what you do, right? So there's things to do. So I started writing at an early age. So I would write creative stories. I started writing screenplays and I'd act them out. I'd do stuff like that, So I really like that. So writing was my outlet. And I would go to school, recess, I'd be out writing a book. I wrote like a 170-page book when I was in 6th grade on time travel. So I'm just writing. I lost it. Of course, I lost the whole thing, right? Oh. So, and I just kept doing that, and I did some acting. I did stuff like that. I just kind of trying to express and do that, but really trying to find an artistic outlet. So I was a very good actor, but I didn't like the acting crowd, and I'll leave it at that. It just wasn't for me. I still am kind of a tough guy and do things, sports and stuff. Now I ran the popular sports too, Sifu, like cross country, right? That everyone knew everyone running cross country. That's a very popular sport. We had 6 people on our team when I started. Okay. So I did. And then later I boxed, right? And martial arts, things like that. And I realized, and whether it ties in my childhood, I love things where I have to suffer. It's just a very odd thing, but suffering, like it does something to me, the pain and the exertion and everything else, going to the Marine Corps was the same thing. I just wanted to be tested all the time. Yeah. And I think we talk about like before 10, right? Like before 10 years old, I was talking to a guy once and he's talking about, who was your influence, right? Like you're asking. I'm like, I don't have one. I can't think of someone. I can't go so-and-so. He was an incredible influence on me, whatever. I'm like, so we kind of broke it down. And then I'm like, okay, well, but I love war movies, right? I love being the hero. I love guys who are fighting for justice and all this. So that was kind of really my big draw. Like that became part of who I was, or it was already in me, right? And I'm seeing that. I go, I want that. Because I always, whatever school I was at, however temporary, if there was ever like a bully picking on someone, I wrecked them. Down. Okay. That's just, and I wasn't some trained guy, but in second grade, we'll get more insight. So I'm going to school, and you're talking second grade, and kids are making fun of me and all this stuff. My mom would put me in this snowmobile suit. It's like the one-piece thing. You just look like a complete. If you ever see Christmas Story, I'm like that kid with the arms up and all that stuff. But I'm getting there like picking on me every day, push me around, doing all this stuff. So I get there late, and I'd ball up that thing, and I'd sneak in the classroom, and I'd throw it in the tote. Sit down and everything. I was late every day. And then one day at recess, it's all snowy out, it's in the winter. Like 6 of these dudes got around me, and they're going to beat the crap out of me. Okay. And I'm like, yeah. And whatever it was, when you get that switch that flips and go, this ends here. Well, it ended there. I ended 6 of them. Okay. I beat the crap out of 6 and left them in the snow. Okay. Went back in. And here's the weird thing. And again, I moved after that, like 6 months later, I'm moving again. Like pretty much no one ever messed with me, like forever. No matter where I went, because I think there was just something inside me, I walked different. And people do it today too. Like people aren't like up for, and I have skills now. So you don't want
to. Big difference than having
big difference. Right now I can really walk around in confidence. But I think
that you found that drive that day, and you said it stops here. And I think that automatically clicked for you. Something clicked.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was that, and I don't know what it was, but I'm like, and you could call it fight or flight, and I chose fight because I had 6 guys around me. There was no flight involved. There's no option. Okay, so I think for me, it was like, oh, you can do this, and I was always kind of a big kid. I mean, 13 years old, I was 6 foot 180. So going into high school, I'm like a big dude. The football coaches are following me around, want me to sign. Hey, mother, sign this, come play football. Because my mother says, you're not playing football. I'm like, oh, okay. But the coaches, they want me. And I said, can I run cross country? Yeah, you can do that. So now I'm the biggest. I'm a 6 foot, 180-pound cross country runner, right? So I'm like, everyone's like, you're a little big for it. Yeah, I'll beat you. And I was always in the top 5 on the team. Wherever I went, my different high schools, I'm like, went to state, did all this stuff. At my people are like, how do you run? I can just run. I don't know, but I can just run. Even my boxing trainer, who was also a roommate of mine, we were roommates. He was a Marine at the same time I was. We go for speed workouts. We run every morning. I do like 8 miles every morning. I get up at 4 and go run 8 miles, where we do speed workouts, and we do half-mile repeats, half-mile with a minute rest. But you had to be under 3 minutes for the half-mile every time. And I just smoke him. And he was lean. He was 178 pounds. I'm like 210, right? He goes, dude, you can just run. I don't know how you even do it. I go, I don't either, but I can run. So there's just something in me, like it's the suffering, because that's what running is. It's only suffering. That's what it's just misery or whatever. If you're 3 miles, 5 miles, but I did make myself a promise. See, I said, I promised myself in high school, I will never run a marathon. And I have kept that promise all these years.
That's incredible.
So I have no need to run a marathon. I've run 13 miles. We had to run 15 miles every Thursday in the Corps, because our CO hated to run. So he decided, let's run 15 miles because I hate it. So we do that. So a lot of that stuff. Am I totally off the trail here, or where am I going here on the childhood thing? Am I doing okay?
So, when you talk about running, and you talked about being in the Marines and so forth, we're going to get to that.
Right.
And then I want to come back to the running, because I got to tell you, I got, how should I say, woken up and made to run. And it was by a Marine. But we'll get into that. So I do have a question for you based on, you mentioned earlier that you learned to box and you did martial arts. So which came first? You?
Boxing. Yeah, boxing was first. And it was awesome. Now, when I was like in high school, like I taught myself how to do nunchucks, and I bought Chinese sais, right? And I'm learning that. You're reading books then, right? You don't get on YouTube. There's no YouTube. Back,
YouTube back
40 some years ago, but so I'm learning. I got pretty good at this stuff, so I'm like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and just playing around with that stuff because that's all you really had access to. I didn't have a way to go to some boxing club or anything else, living on the North Shore of Chicago, these guys they never boxed a lunch in their life. You know what I mean? So it's like, couldn't do that. I wasn't really thinking about it. And it was, after the Marine Corps, I was a manager at a big college bar in Tucson, Arizona. And the big doorman, his name's Dave. We call him Crazy Dave. He's like, he boxed. And I'm like, hey man, I want to box. He goes, well, come on down to the club with me. We'll go down there. So we went like the next day, got in the ring, Sifu. So I'm like, okay. So, and I'm talking Crazy Dave is 240, 6'3", 6'4"-ish, solid muscle, plays with 350 on the bench like it's a toy. Okay. South London kickboxing champion. Right. He's from England and stuff, and he's boxing. So I'm like, okay, I got this. So I get in there and because I'm chasing around looking like I could lay a glove on him. Right. He's just slipping and moving. I'm like, this is insane. And then he just looked at me and pop, throws a jab, boom, breaks my nose. Okay. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, well, I'll keep going. All right. I'm bleeding. It's no big deal. So I'm chasing him around again. Still can't lay a glove on him. Then he looks at me again. Boom. He throws a left hook. Sifu, I kid you not, man. My mouthpiece out of my mouth, out of the ring and across the gym. Okay. I'm like, whoa, what was that? Some little kid comes up, my mouthpiece from like off the gym floor full of hair and dust and like, kids do, but in my mouth. So he finished the round like, okay, that's good enough. Like, I got to blow my nose. Like, no, don't do that. Blow my nose. You got 2 black eyes, So now I got 2 black eyes, broken. I can't chew. I couldn't chew for like 3 days after that day. Well, I get back to work that night, right? So I go back there and the general manager sees me and goes, what happened to you? I'm like, well, I was sparring with Dave. He goes, what? You can't do that. You can't be working here and doing that. I go, well, I'll quit because I'm going back tomorrow. I'm going to get good at this. That's just who I am. I'm like, I know I'm going to go. And I got really good. I became a champion, right? I won golden gloves, copper glove, won all that stuff in the state. And it was awesome. Right. But I went back. I'm not into like, I know I'm preaching as a choir here, but when you I don't think I understood mastery, but like when you're bad at something, which is the starting point for everybody, right? Awful. That's what I tell people. Oh, you're at the awful level. Just starting? Yes, you're at the awful level. Okay. Just so you know. And now we're going to go up from there. We're going to try to get to, not awful. Okay. And then we'll get to good and we'll get to average and all that cool stuff. But you just have this thing like, I got to get good at it. I can't stop. Now, I had to quit boxing. I was on my way to nationals. I just want to get to nationals. I want to win one fight and be ranked. I want to be ranked in the top 10. That's all. Because I'm like, I'm not some Olympic. I'm not going to be any champion pro. I was good, but not that good. Right. And then my last gloves tournament, state championship, 10 seconds in the fight, this guy, cheesy uppercut, feels like he thumbed me in the eye. Couldn't feel the left side of my face. So I just took a knee. I'm like, yeah, something's wrong. And then, so I go over to the ring doctor and again, amateur athletics, right? And this is at La Mancha Resort in Phoenix, and George Foreman was there. It was really cool. And I go to the doc. I'm like, doc, I can't feel the side of my face. He goes, huh. And I kid you not, he's drinking like a scotch and water, right? Plastic glass. Okay. He's looking at me and he goes, yeah, you broke your orbit here. And he finishes his drink. So the ice is in the cup. He hands me the cup. He goes, put that on and go to the hospital. So I'm all this okay. And they just climb out of the ring. And then my roommate's there, but he's got to fight, and he goes, guess I'll drive to the hospital. I'll go get my truck and drive to the hospital. So I went in there. They took a look at it and the surgeon comes through and whatever. 2 days later, I'm getting plastic surgery. I had 7 breaks in my nose, detached from my face. Okay, so they rebuilt all this. I know it's really pretty, and you can't tell it's been worked on, but
you did a good job.
And the plates and wires in my eyes, so I got plates up here, wires here. They do all that stuff, so I can breathe through my nose. And anyways, but then I'm like, never boxed again. It was over.
That was smart of you. Some people think, I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to know when to throw that towel in, right?
And actually the blessing, Sifu, was I know I'd probably still be going in the gym trying to get somewhere. Like you become a gym rat, right? I'm going to box. I'm going to be this guy now. Now I can hit the bag. I can train people. I can enjoy it. I get my skills up. But that actually moved me into my business, really helped me focus on my business because I didn't have the distraction of double workouts every day and fights on the weekends and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good thing.
It's very interesting when we can find passion in something, excuse me, even when we suck at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that first time when you get that mouthpiece going across, it reminds me, I lived on a block in Queens, New York. There was a couple of brothers and they were professional kickboxers. And up the block, 2 houses away from me, were 2 brothers, the Soto brothers, and they were ranked 1 and 2 in wrestling in the US at the time. And I didn't know it, right? I found out later on. So the little brother of one of the kickboxers is annoying. I mean, super annoying. And I think we're in a backyard, and maybe it might be his backyard, and he's just annoying. So we actually start fighting. And he's by the garage door, and I'm like, and we used to scrap all the time. All of us kids used to like fight and have fun and wrestle and all that stuff. So I went to punch. I said, man, that's his face right there. I'm going to hit it. And I go like this, and I missed. And I'm like, how did I miss? His face was there. I dented the garage door. And then I go to hit him again. I'm beating up the garage. I'm not hitting this kid. One of the brothers comes out and he breaks us up because I'm getting angrier and angrier. And he stops us and he goes, you guys are doing it wrong. I'm like, how am I doing it wrong? Because I'm beating up the garage, not him. And so he goes, we don't have gloves on. So he goes and he gets us gloves. And this kid that I had no idea whips me. I mean, really nice. But meanwhile, while he's hitting me, his brother's giving me advice. Do this, duck here, move there. And I'm like, oh, when I start listening to him, then we had a good fight. But in the beginning, I was getting my tail whooped. But the brother was smart enough to say, hey, my little brother's good. Let's make you good. Right? And it was pretty interesting. And man, after that, I was like, hey, when are we sparring again? I don't want to beat you up anymore. I just want to fight with you, right? So fighting has always been in my blood and your blood. But man, when you suck at something, but you don't give up, it speaks volumes to how you can become something better, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. And you learn, I can, I have, let's call it decades of experience now doing things new and hard and whatever. But you do realize, where your perseverance level is. What can you deal with? How long can you persist through, what would you call it? No success. The climb. How long can you climb the mountain? How many false summits can you hit before you get to the real peak, right? And you learn like, wow, I can do a lot. I have suffered through a lot of stuff, and it makes a difference for achievement. Because if you look at anyone who's achieved great things, if you really talk to them, it's not overnight, it's not a year, it's 10 years, it's 20 years, it's a lifetime of trying to get something, but they never quit. They have the grit to continue and go and go. And to me, it's like, that's all I can think of and it's not because I don't want to fail. It's not that. It's not what drives me. It's I want to achieve, right? I want to achieve something. There's a difference between not wanting to fail and wanting to achieve something. Some people think it's the same thing, but it's not. It's very, very different. I don't know if you've experienced that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a difference between somebody who's hungry because it's the fear of loss, or it's the fear of I'm going to die, right? So when you consider what you just said, it speaks volumes to anybody listening to us either now or on the replay. We'd love for you guys to chime in and let us know what your thoughts on what Richard is talking about, because when we consider our lives, what we do, talked about decades of experience of continually doing things, even though you may not be good at it at first, right? Let's put it out there. We may suck at it, but it's the drive to become good at it, right? And it's that old saying that, master of many, or what is that saying?
Jack of all trades, master of nothing.
Right. So, but here's the way I see it is a little bit different. And you and I probably do the same thing. I can master one thing at a time, but once I've mastered it, I will continue doing it. And then I will challenge myself with something else. So I do start to become a master of many, but I can't become a master of many at once, right? So we have to do one at a time. It's, for example, for the teenagers out there who think they can drive and turn around and talk to their friends, that's a mistake. Texting and driving, no, you can't. I don't care how fast your little thumbs are. You can't do that.
Right.
So let's talk about, you took the knee, and that was probably a pivotal point for you because you realize something's wrong. I'm not feeling 100. I can't get back up. And if I get back up, I don't feel right. So you did the most important thing that people neglect to do on a daily basis. It's listen to their body, listen to their calling, if you will, to either go on or don't go on. At what point did you, besides realizing that you said, okay, I can't get into the ring, but I still have a passion for this. I still want to hit the bags. I want to train other people so they become great. When did that really come to you? When did you realize that I'm never getting in the ring again? Was it at the hospital? Was it on the way there? Was it a couple of days after?
So I'm going through the hospital, and there's a nurse walking me to the operating room, right? And she's telling me, well, how'd this happen? I go, oh, boxing. She goes, oh, do you know Ray? He does all the videos and stuff like that. Yeah, I know Ray. I got videos from him. He goes, that's my husband. Oh, great. So we're having this little conversation, and pardon me. And we get in there and put in the anesthesiologist, starts putting in the anesthesia. And you got to start counting back from 100, right? Start counting backwards. And so here's this nurse. She leans over and she goes, we're going to get you all fixed up and get you back in the ring, right? Now I'm going 98. I said, and then the doctor leans over. And this is the last thing I remember before I went under. Him shaking his head going, no way. He's like, no way you would get back in the ring. That's the last thing I remember, Sifu. Then I'm out, and then 3 hours later, I got a new nose and all this stuff, and it was like, and not that was my deciding thing, but I am an all or nothing person, So like, here's the thing. So like that knowing I can't. So like, I just spent this money. I had to fix my face, have all this damage. It took 15 years till the little twinges finally went away. And I had the best plastic surgeon in the state of Arizona at the time. He's still in practice today. And he was young, but he was unbelievable. Every nurse asked me, how'd you get him? I go, I don't know. I'm laying in a bed at midnight, with a cocktail on my eye. I don't know. And he walked by, what am I going to do? But awesome dude. And I think that what you're saying, that knowing when, like that taking the knee, knowing not to go back. Because again, I had something to focus on. Okay, let's build a business. Let's do that. I'll train people. People want me to train them. Well, I can teach you. I still like to hit the bag. So I did that. I moved, relocated, went from Arizona back to Chicago, and then started training people at a club. Like just boxing, doing all this stuff. I have all the skills, right? Hitting the bag. And people just see me, they go, will you train me? Like, sure, okay. And then you spend the next year teaching people how to throw a jab, But I think the important thing that I want to go back to what you said about knowing when. Something that served me being my age now, like this morning, every day this week, wicked hard workouts. So I'm on the heavy bag. I'll do 10 rounds of heavy shadow boxing. I'm talking footwork, moving. I'm going 3-minute rounds, right? Minute rest, and then jump rope and stuff. Still do that stuff. No one equals me at the Y. We have a big, beautiful Y, man. No one equals me. Okay. I am fighting an opponent every time. So it's frightful. Okay. There's some noise and some things being said, and I'm working this bag and I'm not throw 2 punches. I'm 3 to 6 punches every time I throw. And I'm a big dude. You don't see guys my size doing that kind of stuff, but that's how I've always fought. But the thing I've learned over all this time and why I'm doing it today is because I listen to my body. I know when I'm being lazy. I know I'm being lazy and weak, and I know when there's an injury about to happen and take me out. When there's a strain to the point like, okay, not tomorrow. You're going to rest the shoulder. You're going to rest it. And again, at our age, there's always something. It just moves around your body. Injury just floats around. It's like this. It's like a free radical or whatever they call them. I don't know, but it moves around your body and goes and hurts something else. Okay, you fix it, then it'll just go somewhere else and hurt something else in your body. So you learn to work around that stuff, right? And how to rest and when to rest. And I think that's why I'm still in the game at a really good level. It's funny. A guy looks all these treadmills. And I work in like the corner on the heavy bag, and there's a young guy on the treadmill, and I get done. I'm walking away, and he goes, "Hey, are you training for a fight?" And I just want to go, "Nope, just staying dangerous." And I walked away. It's just,
Staying dangerous. I love that.
That's right. So that's all I got. What else can I say? I'm not going to be getting in the ring, but it's an amazing thing, and all that time in every day stepping in the ring, Sifu. So there's 4 steps, right? 4 steps you go up and you got to step through the ropes and get in the ring. Longest 4 steps of my life, every day, 6 days a week. Oh, time to take a beating. You got to go up those steps and take a beating. Some days I got to do the beating. I'm not going to lie. But I fought a lot of pros, a lot of guys really skilled. And that's also why I became good. Because I got in there and took my beatings. You got to get punched in the face. I did 7 breaks. My nose. But that ability to every day go up those 4 steps, again, I think that just built my perseverance. And I wouldn't quit until I had to quit. Right. So I was kind of forcibly, retired. And then, but then went on from there. So I think you're right. I think the perseverance aspect, understanding to listen to your body. Okay. So a lot of people work out, and that's what you see, right? People go hard for 3-4 days, you see them at the club, never see them again. Right. They never come with you because they're sore and they don't work through it and they don't recover and they don't eat right and they don't drink enough water and all the stuff that you have to do. It's a process. Which I've learned over the last 30, 40 years of being athletic and working out and owning gyms, and just like you, right? We learn so much, and you got to accumulate it, right? You got to try it, change it, keep working, figure out what works for you. Because the problem is what? One size doesn't fit all, ever. Not in nutrition, not in fitness. So yeah, it's quite a journey.
You're very much like me, and I think that's why we're like kindred spirits in a way, because we understand pain, and without pain, there's no growth. I'm not talking about negative pain. Like you had to go see the doctor, you had to get your eye fixed and your nose fixed, but understanding the pain of, if I'm going to work out, so I can feel that I'm alive. One of the things I tell anybody when I'm training them, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Does that hurt?" Like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Good, you're alive. You're alive." Feel the pain. Understand that the pain is building you up. How many push-ups did you do? 30? That's it? You're complaining? Let's go. We got more to go. So when we can understand pain, we're not afraid of it. When we are afraid of pain, we don't take chances. Without taking chances, we don't know what's on the other side. We don't. So you love boxing and you work out and you do it consistently. When did you take up, and what style of martial arts? And I know you're a black belt in it, but what motivated you to go for that?
So how old was I? 34? Yeah, I just got married. Yeah, I was 34 going on 35. And I'm like, well, I want to do something. I can't like box. I can't have people, intentionally punch me in the face for an hour at a time, right? That's kind of out. So, well, I'll do the martial arts thing. And my attraction to martial arts was the athleticism aspect. Because after doing what I did every day, like literally trying to knock someone unconscious, that's my whole goal, right? Every round was to put you to sleep, okay, drop you with a left hook to the body, or, knock you unconscious. So I'm like, okay, well, this will be like playing tag, with the martial arts, because we just kind of do this. So I did Taekwondo, right? So I go and Master Chang. I go, okay, Master Chang. I come in like, what do I got to do? Well, we start here. Okay, whatever. I'll be here every day because that's me, right? So I'll be here 5-6 days a week. Let's go. Okay, I'll get to this black belt thing. We talked about black belt. I'm going to get one of those. So I started training every day. Great guy, the 7th degree black belt, all this stuff. Cool guy. And training, brought my wife. We went together first to a different school. And that guy was not the greatest instructor. My wife lasted about 2 or 3 classes. And I'm like, yeah, I was going to last longer, but like, this guy does not impress me as an instructor because I know a little bit, right? I don't know Taekwondo, but I know instructing, right? When you have a good teacher, right? You and I could give us about 3.5 seconds. We'll tell you if the guy's a good instructor, right? from that. Like we know, right? We're trainers. That's what we do. But so I went and found another one, and I found this other one, Chang's Martial Arts in Illinois there, and started going. I'm like, I'm there 5 days a week doing the hour, and I'm working out. And they have, Bob, the dummy, so right. He's got Bob. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I go, oh, Bob. He doesn't have a heavy bag, but Bob's going to be in my heavy bag. So I go early, and I would beat the crap out of Bob. I'm so, Bob, and I would just work out. He'd come out like, oh, so people in the class started like, oh, this kind of guy knows things. Like boxing was very different to them. Okay, again, I know there's a lot of different martial arts.
Much hands.
Right. So it's all that is like, dang. So, but we train. I do whatever he says. I'm moving with the belt system. So now it's about 2.5 years in. I got my black belt. I'm going for my first degree, right? First degree, you got to fight two black belts at the same time. And I just started with, I begin with a right hand to the sternum. Okay. That's how I begin with those guys. And I just drop them, boom, and down they go and go to the next guy, So not, maybe a roundhouse kick here and there and stuff. I could break all the boards. I could do all the stuff, right? Now I'm breaking cinder blocks. Okay, that's cool. But I kind of like to me in that and Taekwondo, I'm like, there's nowhere else to go. Like, I know you can get degrees, but I'm not seeing like
anything different.
And I get the philosophy of the little improvements. I get all that. But, and I'm going to go out, I'll just say what I think here on Taekwondo and stuff. It's a business, okay? Now, we're all businesses, right? If we have a gym, a train, I don't like just come and get your little belts, because you paid and you show up and you do the thing. I'm a results-oriented individual.
Oh, yeah.
You need to get the skill. You need to be able to perform. You need to do it. Then you'll get the award. You don't get it because of time in or dollars paid, okay? So when I had my gym and we're just doing bodyweight exercise and training all that, and I created a belt system, a similar with bodyweight exercises. So you have phase tests and you get all the way through 6 phases and you're like a stud, and from level. But my problem though, see, this is where I was a bad businessman. If you weren't working out hard, get out of my gym. I go, I don't care how much you're paying. Get out. I don't want your money. Okay, don't do that as a business. Okay, sometimes people just want to be around people working out hard. Yeah, like what I started thinking, I go, well, let's see. At the football game, if I go to a Bears game or something, you're like, well, there's like 30 guys playing football and there's 100,000 people watching. Okay. I'm like, why can't I have like 3 people working out hard and 30 people paying me $200 a month to watch? That's a good business model. Okay. So, I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes down to that. But I just wanted people who work out hard, want to make gains. I had incredible results, and that's all we had, So, but it became that even in Taekwondo, I was like, well, I need to go do a different martial art, where there's like, I don't know, more risk. I want to learn weapons, right? I want to do different things. Like, yeah, we do Shinto and we do whatever, they get a little, and they could do that stuff. But I'm like, it's just, so yeah, I kind of topped out there. I think that's the point, so first degree in Taekwondo, that's nice. It's like a backup for me. So I box, I can wrestle, I do that kind of stuff. Like if I have to kick someone, I will, just to slow them down. I'll give them a snap kick, just slow them down. Then I'm going to knock them out with a left hook. Okay. So,
that's it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have a lot of people who are always looking for something else because they go up to a level in their martial arts and they're done because they're not learning anything. So I have people who've been with me for many, many years and they're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because I'm still learning.
Right.
I'm still evolving as a martial artist. And I teach Kung Fu. So we go into grappling, joint locking, throwing. We go into weaponry. I teach every type of weapon from flexible to swords to long weapons, short weapons. So there is the variety that people are looking for. So for anyone who comes to me, they're never bored and they never know what on earth I'm going to teach them. Yeah. Even though we have a curriculum, I still throw in things that like, if you don't have your notebook, we're going to drill this. But if you ask me 6 months from now, what was that move and you didn't write it down or practice it, maybe I forgot it. And they're like, oh. So I'll have somebody come in and say, hey, that move that we did? I said, yeah. I said, show it to me. If they do it really well, then I'll refine it for them. But if they're like, oh, I think it goes like this. I said, show me your notes. Oh, I don't have notes. I said, oh, okay. Then figure it out. Get back to me when you do. So for me, it's always about, and you're right, it's, do you want people who are going to care about what you teach them? My great-grandmaster was like that. He would teach you something. And the next day, if you came back and you could not exactly perform what he taught you, and you did it, and it was wrong, he'd tell you, good job. And then he would tell you to keep doing it wrong. And I know that because I saw people doing it all the time. And I was like, oh, man, but he doesn't give them the time of day because they feel like his presence in front of them should have been worthy of not only practicing it 1,000 times, but writing it down. So whenever I was with him, I was like, oh, every word he says, every move he does, I'm going to pay attention. So I love that you said, I'm going to be here every day, because that's called commitment. How many people don't know commitment? Because what are parents doing nowadays? And you have children. Parents go, today is soccer, tomorrow is dance, tomorrow is basketball, the next day is field hockey, the next day, and the kids are doing something different every day. And the parents are hoping, yeah, I think my son or my daughter, they're going to be a star celebrity. How?
Yeah.
How's that going to happen?
Yeah, it's that, and that's really undue pressure on your children. You're going to be whatever you're going to be. Like you're going to be. If you want to work at it, I'll take you every day. As long as you're excited about learning this, not 5 things. Like you really, and I know we're more of a world of specialists as it is, but I think there's when people see me hitting the bag, okay, and I am moving and working again, my guy, my age, my size, doing this stuff, they're like, wow. I go, well, you do? Because I asked me, I'm like, well, you don't understand. I've thrown millions of punches over 35 years. Millions. How many have you thrown? None. Okay. Or you get out here and you're slapping it like, it's just laughable. I have sometimes, Seafood, you're probably like this too. I'll see someone doing something and me on another bag and I just go, and if I see them there a lot and they're hitting, I finally go up and go, dude, give me 5 minutes. And I'll bring my striking mitts, right? I go, I just have to teach you 3 things. It's a jab, a right hand, and a left hook. If you can just do that, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
because this is embarrassing. Okay, this is embarrassing. Okay, so you're tarnishing the reputation of my sport. So I would teach him. I give him 5 minutes, teach him, and now do that. Okay, I want to see you do that every time I see it.
So you bring up a great point. When we see somebody doing something wrong, but we want to give them that. We want to give them that little bit of help. And sometimes, people are so resistant because they think they know it, right? One day I was working out at the gym, right? I don't know. There's been different times where I've belonged to 5 different gyms just for variety.
Mhm.
And I was at this particular gym and I saw somebody doing something horribly. And I had my earbuds on. I was like, you know what? I took them off and I go, excuse me. They had earbuds on. So I said, excuse me. And she takes her thing off and I said, can I just share with you what you're doing is going to actually hurt your knee? And she goes, oh no, I'm a physical therapist. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, carry on. And I walked away. Right. But to be honest with you, if she's not only doing it to herself, but she's actually teaching people to do it. Wow. And the only reason I know it so well is because I've had 3 knee surgeries with 2 knees. Go figure that one out, right? And none of them were from martial arts or physical fitness. Car accident. Somebody hit me. But
yeah, no, it's so true. I see people. I'm the same way, and now I've tunnel vision because I just see stuff going on in the gym. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like I even thought about getting my Smokey the Bear, my drill instructor, cover from the Marine Corps, and like going in the gym and getting those, those impromptu videos. Nice. What are you doing? You are pathetic. Do you want to kill yourself? I just want to do something like that, like cat. And then people like freaking out, just because I could do it all day, every day,
You just give me a thought. I got to come to you and we're both got to come in there with whistles and stuff and videotape and just do it. Let's go.
Yeah. It's just, but the same thing. People will do like a rotator cuff exercise, right? So they'll do with a tube or something, right? So they attach the tube and they're supposed to, keep your elbow at their side and go out here and pull it back and forth. And okay, so I've done a lot of that. I was blessed early on as a trainer working with some of the best. I've trained everything from professional athletes all the way down to middle school kids, right? So, but with some of the best rehab guys, kinesiologists, right? So I got real, like I understand every aspect about it. And I'll see them and they're just literally like standing there looking off and just bouncing their arm back and forth. You're not doing anything for your rotator cuff. Okay. Except reckon. I just want to go, listen, bud, let me show you. And I'll do this real quick. So here you need to be a 45-degree angle to the tube. Okay. It's at 45 degrees. Lock your shoulders back, scapular retraction, now scapular depression, bring them down, lock them in, put the elbow at your side, keep a 90 at your elbow, do not bend your wrist, keep it straight. Now rotate. Oh, look, you can move like 4 inches. Wow, that's amazing. Before you're bouncing it back and forth like you got no problems. I said, when we get to 6, it's burning in the rotator cuff. Right. I go, that's how you work your rotator cuff. If you actually want to repair that, do that. Okay, right? This is like you were saying about the Grandmaster. Come back the next day, what do you see? Boing, 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 boing. Just bouncing out. I'm like, you're hopeless. I go, I'm done helping people.
But, let's take it to, and I love this conversation that we're having because we're both passionate in reality about helping people, even though sometimes we're speaking to a wall.
Right.
But when we consider the training that you've had, you went into the Marine Corps. Why choose that particular one? Because you could have gone to the Army, you could have gone to the Navy, you could have gone to the Air Force. What attracted you?
So, funny story, Steve. So I'm 13 and I'm in the Marine Corps recruiter's office.
Really?
I'm 6 foot 180, right? I'm a big dude. I'm ready to go. So they're talking to me and finally he looks for me, he goes, so how old are you? I go, well, I'm 13, but I'm ready to go. He goes, all right. So here, I'm going to give you some stickers. He gives me some Marine Corps stickers. So you come back when you graduate high school and we'll take care of you. I'm like, oh. So I'm out the door. Right? So now I'm 17, out of high school. want to go into the Marine Corps, but you got to get your parental consent because you're 17. So I told my mom, hey, I'm going to go in the Marine Corps. My older brother has been in the Army for a year now. He's a year older than me. So my mother's response is, no, any branch but the Marine Corps. Be in the Army like your brother. I go, oh, I can't. I have to be the best. So I can't. I can only go in the Marines. That's my only. I don't have an option. Mm-hmm. She's like, no. I'm going. Oh, I'm going to get this. I tend to get what I want, Sifu, one way or another. Perseverance plays part of that, but I get what I want. So I go tell the recruiter. I say, listen, we got a problem. My mother won't sign the paper. Do you guys want to talk to her? So you don't know salesmen until you meet Marine Corps recruiters. Okay, you think you're good. No one can equal a Marine Corps recruiter when it comes down to closing a deal. All right. So they came over to my house. One sat on the left of my mom, one sat on the right on the couch, and browbeat her for 3 straight hours. Okay. Wow. Until she finally, fine, she signs it, signs the paper, storms off into her room, and I'm like, I am in, so 3 weeks later, I'm in the Marine Corps. It was I just am a kind of determined guy, but really, so the whole thing was, it truly was, I want to be the best. I want to be in an elite fighting force. Now, at that time, you've kind of heard of the Navy SEALs. They're still, I don't want to say they're new, but they're unknown, right? They still were truly a special force operation, everything else. So that wasn't like the thing. Now everyone wants to be a Navy SEAL or whatever, My son's in the Marine Corps, right? And he wants to get a MARSOC, Marine Corps Special Operations Command, be a Raider, which he'll do. He will accomplish that. But that's all good. But me, I'm like, I want to go do that because, and I want to wear that uniform. I want to earn that uniform, right? I want to wear that. I want to be seen in that. I want to do that. I want to go kill the enemy. That's what I want to do. And if you talk to most Marines, that's what they want to do. They're not going in for a job. Okay. They're not going in for a career. Okay. They're going into mission. Fight the enemy. Yes. So, and that's where I was. So that's really what drove me to that. So, and my buddies, a couple of my friends who I'd kept in contact with over the number of years, we're all talking about going in. Guess who went in?
You.
Me. And nobody else. And that is the story of my life. Let's do this. Yeah. Till it comes time to do it. Just like at church, Sifu, everyone wants to be on a security team till you got to do security stuff. Then all of a sudden they don't want to be on the team anymore. Because I always start with, okay, who here's been punched in the face? I know you're all volunteers, but, I know you watch a lot of movies. And you think because you're a female and you're 120 pounds, you're going to take on the world. I said, but you're going to get crushed. You're going to get smashed. Okay, so we're going to bring this back down to reality. We're going to walk through some decent scenarios. I'm going to take care. I'm going to show you how you're going to live. If something ever does happen, so we have to, for us who have been in it, very different than those who have seen it. Right?
Yeah.
So
consider what were the major lessons that you gained as a Marine? And one of the things that you've spoken throughout this whole show, if you will, is you want to be the best. You've had so many changes in your life that you had to adapt over and over and over and over again. And even as a Marine, you have to adapt to different situations all the time. You have to be alert. You have to be attentive to everything that's going on. But also, you're now part of something that maybe you didn't feel like before. You were part of a team. And without that team unity, you guys could die. So how and what lessons would you say that you still employ today?
I think one thing is the brotherhood, the camaraderie, and someone having your six. Like knowing that in the most deadly situation, there's someone not gonna quit on you.
Gonna run away.
Okay. It's easy to play basketball or football or what. I'm talking life and death threats, the whole thing. Like you get in those situations and you know that person has your back. That's what I look for. I don't need 20 friends. I need one guy who's got my back. That's what I need. And we'll win. I trained my son growing up. I said, and whether you're going to go in the military or not, it was never kind of a thing. I said, but you always want to train with the best. So if you want to be a SEAL, you want to live, train with the highest level of guys who everyone thinks die all the time. No, they live the most. It's the average goof you got to be on the battlefield with, you need to worry about, because they're not going to come out of the hole. They're not going to have your back. They're cowards. Okay. You want to be with the guys who are.
And that's the plain truth, right? They're cowards.
Right. We are trained, and I share this too in our security team. We are trained to run towards the bullets. Okay. If you want to, other people are not. One guy had recommended in this scenario thing I was doing that, well, I'm not worried about 15 people will be on me if something happens. I go, 15 people? I've never seen 15 people do anything in this place. I said, you think people are going to react like there's some, I said, you only rise to your highest level of training, your last level. And that would put you all where? 0. Okay. You're not going to do anything but freeze. A gun goes off in here. What do you think? You're going to stand up and go after the guy? I go, you're going to do what everyone else will. The other 500 people, you're going to climb underneath your seat and you're going to hopefully cover your wife up and your children and protect them. I hope you can at least do that. You got the wherewithal to do that. But don't sit there like you're going to take some. I mean, come on. Like, we got to bring you back down to reality, okay? Stop watching the movies. Okay, we're going to do some hands-on stuff here. I'm going to show you what's going to happen to you. Okay, so, and it's just, I just take it very serious, and that, and I don't mean that I'm the baddest lad on the planet or something like that, but in a group of average, it's not hard to be above average.
It's
okay?
very,
we're surrounded by, we're surrounded by below average. Okay. I think we're surrounded by below average in general, right? Because people, they don't aspire for anything. They get by so they get home, watch TV. They get by so they can get to the weekend, so they can get to Saturday and go golf or something. You know, I mean, they don't live every day. Not waking up going, what is it? And I'm not Mr. Let me write my new challenge down today. I don't do that because I don't have to. Just like I don't plan rest days. I don't know if you do this, because I'm going to get hurt. Yeah, but like people, well, I train for 14 days and I take 3 days off and I'm going to do this and this is part of my program. I go, yeah, I don't do that. How come? Because on day 7, I'm going to get injured from cranking too much weight. I'm going to throw a bad hook. I'm going to get a little tweak in my shoulder. I'm going to have to lay back. I go, I don't have to plan rest days. My body plans the rest days. It'll tell me when I got to rest, right? So sometimes it's going to be longer than others. But again, the one thing I do know, when you get older, what used to take 2 weeks to heal will take 6 months now. Okay, that's a given. But you got to work around it, right? So,
well, one of the things that I do, and you talked about, and we both have been talking about listening to your body. But for me, and when I said, what's a rest day, it's because, listen, I hope that everybody listening, and you as well, and me, that we all poop every day. So we don't take a rest from pooping. So that means we should do something also. So for me, it's not a rest day, it's a movement day, right? So maybe I'm not going to do the same thing I did for the last 15 days, but I'm going to change it, yet still do something. Right? So for me, that's why I say, what's a rest day? Because people ask me all the time, what do you do when you rest? I said, I move. I moved it. My whole life, I've never known a rest day. It's not like I'm doing nothing. I'm going to sit I might as well not get up if I'm going to to me, that's a rest day. If you stay in bed, that's a rest day. But for me, it's, maybe I'm not going to grind it like I did last couple of days, but I'm still going to do something. And people go, well, you're on vacation. And we talked about vacation yesterday, right? Yeah. You're on vacation. Why are you going to the gym? Why are you working out? Why are you still getting up so early? I said, because I'm alive. I'm alive. And vacation doesn't mean I die for those couple of days. Right? If I go on vacation for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is, I'm working out every day.
That means you have more time to work out. That's what that means. And I'm with you. The rest of the movement, do something. I'm very, very intense when I work out because I love it. So a rest day would be like, get on the elliptical. Oh, that's drudgery. I'll do it, but it's like I've been punished. It's like I'm being punished. I can go super intense. Yeah.
Listen, your rest day is a tough day for anybody else.
Right. I go, yeah, my worst day is better than your best day. But yeah, but it's just, and that's not, it's years of doing stuff, right? We can do that because we've mastered our craft. We train, we've done a ton of different stuff. We get it. But in me, like today, I'm telling you, I did 8 3-minute shadow boxing rounds. Okay. So there's like 2 bags in there, and I am moving and just throwing shots. I'm not hitting the bag. I'll tap it here and I'll work around it. But like, and I think if people, and they do watch me, like, this dude is odd because I'm taking up the space of a ring, basically, right? I'm pivoting, I'm throwing, I'm hitting, I'm coming down. You're hearing noise. I'm grunting. I'm throwing hard. I'm not just throwing hands. I am working. Yeah, I mean, I am. Yeah, I mean, I'm always against an opponent. I don't play. It's like, this is real. And if you watch me, you're like, that dude is like, it's like he's fighting someone, because I am. You know, even my sweat on the bag, I call it bag tears. I got the bag crying, baby. It still wins every day, but I made it cry with my own sweat.
You know, one of the funniest things is when I have my clients working out and they go, I sprung a leak. I'm like, well, finally. They're like, man, every time they go, I can go to the gym and work out for a long time, but only with you do I spring a leak. I'm like, well, and he goes, are you happy being here? They go, no, I hate it. I said, but you keep coming back. He goes, because you give me something I can't get anywhere else.
That's right.
So, when you consider everything you've been through, you're taking all your lessons, everything you've learned, and if you don't mind, and if you have extra time, maybe a little extra today, because I'd love to hear about your business brilliance that you have. When did you realize that you needed to start to impact that knowledge, and how did that come about? Because every time I talk to you, you speak beautifully on business concepts and ideas. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I had 20 years with my first business, custom water features. I became a, internationally recognized steel sculptor, made world-class exhibits, all that stuff. And then 08, 09, the collapse came, right? Financial collapse. That's not what ruined my business. I ruined my business, so I own that. But it was things I didn't do that caused the collapse of my personal business. But I started over. So 6 small kids, a wife, had to relocate, lost her house, did all that. So again, after all the stuff we talked about, do you think I'm a fan of losing? Okay, I'm not really a fan of losing. So when you lose everything, that can be a little traumatizing, right? Now, I am also an eternal optimist, right? I always see good. I always see a way out. I'm going to find a way out. So that was, which drives my wife absolutely insane. Okay, because like nothing bums me out. And sometimes people just want to see a different emotion from you. Like, could you be depressed for like 5 minutes? I go, I can't. Never have been.
It takes more energy to be depressed.
I might be angry. I could get angry for a little while, but but that's like, I don't do that. So I had to rebuild, start over, figure it all out, redo it. So I said, okay, started being a trainer again. Then I opened the gym. But then I'm like, the big problem, for me, was that first 20 years, and I didn't start having children until I was 39. We had 6 in like 3.5 years. So very intense, a lot of kids. I'm working all the time though, because I'm about awards. I'm about winning. I'm about being the best at what I do. And it's funny, yesterday I was on a podcast, and the first time I've ever said this, which I realized after I got done, because he's asked like, well, why did you do what you do? Why did it drive you? And I don't know how he said, I've never even like thought of this, but I go, well, so people would tell me I'm great. And he goes, where's the affirmation? That's your love language. And I go, well, yeah, now that you say that, yeah, that's what it is. But then I realized that moment was like, yeah, I just do another great thing and a greater thing and another great thing. So people would tell me I'm amazing. Okay. So I'm like, and I'm good. God, is that kind of weird? I go, because I didn't care about money. I made lots of money, but I was never driven by money. A lot of people think success is about money. And I'm like, I didn't realize that. So that was kind of a little thing yesterday. But in 08, 09, I'm laying there and I realized, you know what? My kids love it when I come home, and I come home late and they attack me and they'll chase me down the driveway and I'm leaving, right? They'll cry, running after my truck. I'm like, geez, this is kind of rough, And I realized they don't care where we live. They don't care the house. They don't care what I drive. They don't care what I do. They just wanted me to be around. Right. So that childlike faith, that innocence of just knowing what really matters, like that changed my life. So I went out because I knew things would collapse anyways, and I shut the doors. In the office, we're done. My guys have been with me for 10 years. Best guys ever. Finest crew I ever had. Just awesome guys. Guys, we're done. They're like, what? I go, I can't do this. Because if I stay on this path of business only, business first, I'm going to destroy my children's future. They're going to have broken marriages, failed relationships. They might be successful at business. They might get to the top of the mountain, but it's only because of all the bodies they had to step on. Because they have faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships. That's balance, right? And then your business. So you put those things together, that's what you want to have. So how do I do that? So the whole goal is knowing that. How do I do that? How am I going to be around? And for other contexts, our plan was to homeschool our children all the way through high school, right? So that was a plan before I was even smart enough to know I was doing the wrong thing, right? With the business, I was smart on that. So we were going that path. So I created a business where I'll get trainers to work. I wanted to train. I can train when I want to. I can be there. So I built the business that way. Then I started a contracting business. So roofing, siding, windows, same thing. Get subs, get other people to do the work. Let me just run this, do this. Started to scale. Then people started to ask me, well, how'd you do that? How'd you go from losing everything, 20 years, all this, and then gone, and then start over and down? Well, I did this. And I said, what are you doing? And I started fixing their businesses. So now I was in the mentor category, right? And I'm mentoring people, business owners. And being an entrepreneur, I figured, well, mentoring, that's the free gig. You do that for free. Coaching, you get paid. True. I think I need to be a coach. I need to build a business. So I started coaching. And okay, people pay me to coach them. And I'm turning these businesses around. I'm giving them freedom. I'm helping them walk away from the business because I did that for 20 years. Stuck in it. I was called Escape the Owner Prison. I'm stuck in the owner prison. So I started doing that. And I said, well, hey, I'm going to write a book. Let's write a book about all this. So I wrote Escape the Owner Prison. The contractors knew way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth while loving life. It's a good title. So I put that together, became a bestseller, coaching people, made an academy. So now I'm building this whole thing into a business and learning from all my failures and my mistakes, and then combine that with my corrections and the new path, and really thinking about being way more intentional instead of just working for money, or in my case, awards and high fives and whatever I got. People tell me how great I was. And I'm like, well, let's do this differently. And it really started to change how businesses operated. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But the cool thing, Sifu, is I've also realized even recently, I get way more joy out of other people's success than my own. Like me turning and the stories I get from my clients, their families are back together. They see their kids. They go to all the games. They're making even more money, right? Everything it runs itself. They're buying other businesses, because they know how to. I'm like, that's why I do it. So now it's not for the affirmation. Yeah, I want to see other people's success, right? Because I know what that trap is. I know what that prison is. And most small businesses, especially from the $1 to $10 million range, gross revenue, they're stuck in that because they don't know any different. They were great at what they did, so they started the business, but they don't know the business part. So I had to re-educate myself, right? Really learn, do my conference, learn all this stuff, put stuff in play, make it work, and then share. And that's what really turned things around for me. And that's why coaching. So we talk a lot about training, right? We can fix people. We can do all that. We know we mastered our arts, everything else. But in that same journey, I became a master trainer. I can teach people. I can break it down very simply, and I can teach them. I can show them how to do things very quickly. Well, that isn't just athletics. It's just not boxing. It's everything I do, and it's very. And I don't know, people I'll go on a live podcast, just and people ask me all this question, I just answer everything. I don't know. And they're like, I never thought of that. I was just like, I just do this. It's just, it's from time and everything else, and I love it. I'm like, I'm master of the hot seat, bring someone up, tell me your problem. Tell me your problem and I fix it. Who's next? Bring the next person up here. It's just so much fun. It gets me so energized. It's so exciting to see the light bulbs go off in people. I just love it.
Yeah, when you do what you do, and you may, and I love what you said, that you've always considered you winning. But when your client wins, I think you win tenfold.
Yeah.
Because it only allows other people to say to them, why are you winning? Well, because of Richard. They're like, oh, well, then I need to talk to Richard.
Right.
So it affirms what you're doing, and you're doing the right thing, right? When anybody, if they lose, I am sure you would take it personally as well, because, well, let's rephrase that, because if they lose because they didn't follow your instructions, that's on them. If
Right.
they lose because they followed your instructions to the T, it could be on you. Maybe.
Yeah.
Circumstances always change things, right? And one of the things that, for example, what may work in Florida may not work in California.
Right.
When it comes to a type of business or the market.
Regulation. When it comes to regulation.
Yes, absolutely. So, but it has to be such an amazing feeling for you. You probably get high on this. It's your natural drug when someone else wins because of what you've done for them. So when somebody approaches you, are they coming because maybe they heard you on a podcast like this, or were they recommended from another business, or maybe they just stumbled on, they Googled how to fix my business or anything of that nature? How do people really find you? Because I'm putting your Sharpen the Spear right here for people to go and check you out, right? So sharpenthespearcoaching.com. And if you want some of the best business advice, go check out my friend Richard.
Yeah, it's interesting because they call it the know, like, and trust factor, right? So no one's going to just like bump into me and then sign up for a year of coaching with me. Okay, they're not. Okay, they have to know who I am. So maybe they heard me on a podcast like with you, okay, or the one I was on yesterday, or 50 other ones I've been on last month, right? Or they've seen me at a conference. I spoke on a stage. They've read my book. Maybe they've done that. They hear me on my podcast. I had 115 episodes, interviewing guests and stuff. But it's all a process. Most people don't, unless it's like for nothing of value. Like you don't wait and see a Snickers 7 times and decide to have a Snickers. You just grab a Snickers because it's $1.50 or something, right? So there's not a lot of relationship going on with you and the Snickers until it sits in your belly for the next 5 years and fat. But so I like, people have to get acquainted with me. They have to know me. They have to hear me, right? I think it's a general principle in business. People, and rightly so, they're cynical, or they're not trusting, or they don't know you yet, right? To enter into a business relationship where I'm going to tell you what to do. So think about if someone's going to walk up and tell you you're doing that all wrong. Like you and I are in the gym telling these people they don't know what the heck they're doing, and why don't you just go home and get back in bed because you'll serve yourself better. So so they have to know you, or the referral thing is a biggie, right? It's like one of my clients, awesome guy, been like 2.5, 3 years now, custom home builder. He put a thing on Facebook. I had uploaded one of the podcasts I was on, and this is that word. But he's like, this man changed my life. If you wanna, do this business, because what we've done, again, there's just no higher praise. You know what I mean? Like someone like that, like, and this guy's he's not doing a couple. I mean, these are big hitters now. I've helped some really cool stuff, and it's ability to have outside eyes to see into someone else's business, because you can't see what you're in front of a lot of times, or you only see what you're in front of and you can't see what's coming from the flanks, right? So that's why you need those. That's why generals are really back in the tent, looking at the whole war board, right? They're not leading from the front. Sounds cool, sounds courageous, but you all gonna die. Okay. It's just, and so you just gotta.
Can you lead from the front when you only see what's in front of you, or do you lead from an overall view, or can you even lead from the middle? You can't.
Right. Can you play chess just looking at the king?
Yes, and he
You
will
got to
be
see the whole board, right? You got to see the whole board. You got to know who's going to go where you said. It's just, and I know this seems like common sense, but no one does it. It's not so common, because we're focused on doing our thing, and we don't. A lot of times, as an entrepreneur, we don't have the capacity to see. We don't understand strategy. We understand work. We understand reward because we're getting paid for doing work, but we're not looking at strategy. We don't have the bandwidth. We're wearing too many hats. Everything you hear. So when you can come and clean that up, point it out, it's very rewarding. And as long as they take action, and believe me, you've probably fired students and clients. I've fired clients and students. I get them because they don't do the work. You're not going to tarnish my reputation by being a dog. Okay, you don't do the work. Get away from me. You get your stink off me. Okay, I don't want you around because I don't care if you hurt yourself, but wrecking my reputation. Oh, he couldn't help me. You didn't do anything, right?
Exactly.
It's
It also hurt your other people. A bad apple is going to ruin the rest of the apple.
That's right. If a cancer, I tell my clients this in business, you get that one bad employee. He might be cancer in the tip of the pinky. You cut it off right now, or you're going to lose the whole hand, then your arm and the rest of your body. I said it's really important. It's hire slowly, fire quickly. You can't play with that kind of stuff. Stuff is infectious. Negativity is infectious. You've got to understand that, man. You got to nip that so fast. And that's part of that's front leadership. Okay. Now you can call that front leadership.
That's why you have so many different levels of leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Because you need somebody overlooking everything, mm-hmm. but then you have different levels, and they need to be able to see what's going on and report back, right? And this is
chain of command. That's right, chain of command. That's a Marine takeaway, right? It's all chain of command. And if you can adhere to the chain of command, and it's a functioning, if they're well trained in their positions, chain of command is a beautiful thing.
So let me ask you a question. And we're talking about chain of command, generals, and so forth. And I've heard this said many, many times over. And that Marine that woke me up at 4 a.m. was my brother. I was 14. He's 4 years older than me. He comes from boot camp. I'm being shooken up at 4 a.m. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, let's go. I'm like, where are we going? Running. Like, oh, fine. So I go running 12 miles. Day 1. Day 2, shakes me up. Go running 12 miles. I didn't know it was 12 miles at the time. Later on, I found out it was 12 miles because we ran around this big lake, around the whole lake twice. And I was like, this is crazy. Every day, 7 days, he'd be waking me up. 8th day, nobody's waking me up. He's home for 2 weeks. I go wake him up. He's like, leave me alone. I got to go back next week. I'm like, no, you started this mess. And for many, many, many years, I ran. I just ran. And when I moved from, anybody who knows New York, from Queens to Brooklyn, it was, let's put it this way. I ran 1 hour, not jogged, ran 1 hour, turned around, ran another hour back, and then went to work. I showered, went to work. That was every single day, rain, shine, didn't matter. But he instilled that in me. Now, I was never in the Marine, and it's very interesting when I've had people who are in the Marines say to me, when did you serve? And I've never served. And if I had to serve, I definitely would serve. But he instilled something in me by that one action. Now, I know a lot of Marines who don't live like a Marine anymore. They used to be a Marine. And I know that the saying is once a Marine, always a Marine.
Mhm.
And I believe that. It's in you no matter what, right? But not every Marine lives that lifestyle of waking up at 4 in the morning. But I am talking to a gentleman right now who lives that. And that is you, my friend. So why are you still living as if you were going to be woken up at 4 in the morning in the barracks?
Sifu, I think what I've always thought about the Marine Corps is they don't make you into something.
Mm.
They bring out what's inside of you.
Yeah.
Okay. There's plenty of guys who quit. Okay. Why didn't they become Marine? I mean, they graduated a lot of people, but people quit. I think it was something inside of me. And then once you get a taste of excellence, when you know that you thrive being pushed, going hard, accepting challenges, and that becomes part of who you are, you don't want to stop doing that. Now, I am not Mr. Super stud for every day of my life. I've had my ups and downs. I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I've had great periods of stuff. I'm a human being. Okay. I'm far from perfect. Okay. But I always right the ship. I always right the ship. Again, it can be business distractions. Hey, I'm getting 3 meals a day from a window. Okay. For like a year because I'm so stressed from my business. You just pull up and just shovel it in. You're eating in your car. I might as well live in there. It's disgusting, but I'm doing that. I mean, I get the point. This is so stupid, but I had this Jeep Grand Cherokee and I'm serious about getting food all the time from there. So what do you got to do when you pay? You got to push back, put your right hand in your pocket to pull out my money clip, right? Okay. So I do that. You know what I did to the seat? The seat broke.
No way.
The bracket in the seat broke me. And I'm like, how could that happen? I'm like, oh, I push back. I reach into my pocket. I bring out the money. I get the food. I got to reach back, put it back in. Okay, do that 6 times, 8 times a day, right? It broke my stinking seat. And I wasn't a little guy either. So I'm like, dude, this is out of hand. Like,
Well,
I'm that guy. I'm that
big-
guy. I broke my seat.
You probably were getting bigger too, right?
That's what I'm saying. I was that guy. I was that big dude. I'm a 300-pound land tuna. You know what I mean? And I'm driving the car. So those things always righted the ship, right? So I had to learn, like, there's going to be stress. There's this stuff in your life. And I went through all of it, right? I've been through everything from losing everything and all that. Like, stay the course. You need consistency in your life somewhere. You don't have the perfect consistent day and you live a fully structured life, like, whatever. But like, are there things you do that are consistent? And one of those is you eat healthy. I don't mean you're chewing on grass all day or something. I'm just saying 80-20. 80% is really good, 20% whatever, right? Can you maintain that? Can you get to the gym 3 to 5 days a week? Do that. Just do that. Like, those couple of things, they'll be your constant, right? They're going to be the line that you may go off from, but this is a line you can come back to, right? So you understand. So I think that's what stuck with me. That drive, doing that. And a weird thing when you talk about the Marines, and I'm thinking this isn't only me, but when people like meet me or see me or wherever I'm at, they don't ask if I was in the military. They ask if I was a Marine, which is a really odd. I'm always like, why would you, why would you pick that? Well, that's what I am. But there is something different. I said I had to be the best. There's something different, whether we hold ourselves different or whatever it is. And listen, I boxed, I've done a lot of stuff, right, to add to the whole thing, but I still stand. So I got great posture. I walk straight. I walk quickly. Okay. I'm not dragging my feet. I'm not hanging on some shopping cart like I'm about to die, right? I go in the store and I'm mission oriented. Okay. I'm getting what I want. I get out. Okay. I'm a man who's always on purpose. I park as far away from the store as possible and I walk in. Boom, all the way and get myself all the way back out. So I think it's part of your being. When you ask them, like, why, it becomes who you are, and you understand that there's also dignity in that. There's self-dignity. I think that's massively missing in our culture today, is self-dignity. People just don't have it. And I know this is a weird combination, but go back to them great black and white pictures from the 30s and the 40s. Everyone's in a tie, man. They're in a suit. I mean, they don't have, they live in a ratty little one room apartment with a hot plate, and dude, they're out in a suit. You know what I mean? Like, they had self-respect. They had dignity. They look good. You know what I mean? And I'm no slave to fashion. Okay. So I'm saying, like, I know how to dress. My wife has to dress me if I want to look good. Okay. But the reality is, like, they have this dignity, and I feel that way too. I do the same with my kids. You walk straight, you look people in the eye, you shake their hand, right? We learn the basics. You know, hold yourself up. You know, make people want to be around you.
Not everybody learns that, you know, the basics.
Right.
Shake somebody's a firm handshake, look somebody in the eye. Everybody's looking down because they're also used to looking down at their phones.
Exactly.
When you talk about they lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with a hot plate, but they still had dignity. I miss that. I'm old-fashioned. My dad, I never saw him in sneakers. It didn't matter the day. It didn't matter when. Always shirt and tie, jacket. That's how he dressed, no matter what profession he was doing. That was an entrepreneur. Always. My dad went from being a principal in a school to doing some electronics type of business to owning beauty salons. And even when he was at the beauty salon, the man was dressed to the T. I'm like, right. So I love that. And for a long time, I always dressed that way. When I was 12 years old, I remember wearing a hat. I don't even wear hats, but I was wearing a hat. I thought I was like 1920s with a nice shirt and tie, and I walked down the block, and people were like, whoa, look at you. And meanwhile, everybody's in T-shirts and sneakers, and I was all dressed to the T's. And then slowly I went away from that because I was trying to fit in with all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went into the business world and started working for corporations, I knew that I needed suits and ties, and I was super happy. And then when I left that and became an entrepreneur in like 89, actually I was starting my entrepreneurial back in like 80, probably like 1980. And because I was already working and teaching and doing all these things, but I didn't fully leave the corporate world till about 89. And I kind of gave up on all my suits and stuff. I was like, I don't need to wear this clothes anymore. But I had to go to a wedding once, and I was like, I had all these amazing, beautiful, expensive suits. Oh man, I don't have any. I gave them away. So I said, okay, time to go buy suits again. Now I'm constantly buying suits. And it's very interesting to me because I'm like, oh, that suit looks nice. I need to own that suit. So I am always looking. I'll go places. And like I said to my fiance recently, I said, I need to go get some more suits. She goes, a bunch of suits. I'm like, yeah, I think I need some more. And it's because even though I gave it up, I love the feeling I get.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share this with you, and then we'll wrap it up if you don't. I was at an event, and I was in all different suits every day. And somebody goes, man, you dress so impressive. You look sharp. And I said, hey, listen, I'm not here to impress anyone. Oh, you're impressed? I said, I'm not. That's not my purpose. I said, I'm here to impress myself. I said, if I wanted to impress everybody, I come naked. And they broke out cracking up because that's impressive, right? If you can come naked, people are like, whoa, that's impressive. So consider what you've done with your life. You've changed it around from going broke with 6 kids, and God bless you for having 6 kids, right? I'm one of 10, by the way.
That's awesome. See, I'm a slacker. 6. I only got 6. I don't have 10.
I said, I
got friends with 14. I have friends with 14 and 12. And I'm like, I show up like I'm the slacker in the room. You know what that does to a man like me? Okay.
You're not a winner. No, but I'm one of 10. My mom had 12. I only have two, and I always wanted a big tribe myself. It was not in my cards, right? But I feel like I adopt everyone I come in contact with. If I can teach them, if I can be that mentor to them. And you talked about when you mentor somebody, you don't make money, you have to coach. So I am both, right? And a lot of times it's very interesting because you probably take this role of, I'm your coach, but man, I got to give you bonus. I got to give you extra, right? Tell me about that, and then we'll wrap it. Tell me about how you help your clients, right? Because you're coaching them, but you all of a sudden you put that mentor hat on and you go like, yeah, I'm not going to charge you for this, but I'm going to give you all this info, this to level you up.
Yeah, you know how I do that, which is really cool, actually. We came up with this. There's an app called Voxer, Voxer, victory, V as in victory. It's a walkie-talkie app. So you push the button and it chirps on the other side. You talk and it leaves a recorded message, or you can go live back and forth, right? So, and it's a free app, or you can get the pro version is like $30 a year, and it saves everything. So great little tool. So all my coaching clients, we give them Voxer access to us. So we have a 1 call a week, right? And then we have programs. They do this and do that, but we also I understand business, right? I'm a guy who likes to get things done. So if you had a really important question and you had to wait until next Thursday to ask me, how much is that going to help your business? You could pass the point, right? I need to know this tomorrow. So Voxer is you hit the button, you chirp, you leave me a message. We respond same business day. Okay. So whatever your question is, you'll have an answer, and I can just leave it on Voxer. I can jump on. I don't have to get you on the phone. We don't have all this dead time. We don't talk about what the kids are doing. And we just, well, okay, Sifu. No. Do not do that. Okay. You want to do this and this, and then do this. And when you get it done, just send me a Voxer. Tell me you got it done and it worked. Boop, I'm done. Right. That's coaching. That's mentorship. Yes, they're paying for that one-on-one call each week, and there's programs and modules they're going through. We give them homework as accountability, but that access, that's what changes the game. I was on before this call. My guy's like chirping, so I got this and this, and I'm like, okay, we'll do this. I told you, I'd start the clock. I'll guarantee you that man is done in a week. Okay, so we're going to let him go. So we just walk through stuff. It's like such a cool place to be for me. It's like I'm the general. I'm telling these businesses and like, we'll do this and do this and do that. Try this. Have you tried it? And it's not an ego thing. It's like, man, I'm like helping all these people. I'm doing things they can't think of, but I'm getting them. We put the fire out that springs up. And now on the call, guess what we're going to do? Build the system to prevent that from ever happening again. So I love coming that up in the moment, because we can address it, boom, put that thing out. And then now let's fix it from ever happening again. And that's where like, wow, because that same problem will pop up a month later, 3 weeks later, 6 months later. And we want to stop that. We want tactical and strategic. So that's what I love about the mentorship problem. And last thing, when I do meet startups, people, I give them my time, which is and I'm just saying, it's a very high priced item. Right. And I'll give them my time. An hour of me with them will change their whole direction. From a startup, from an idea to like, I will fire hose you. You're going to get a lot of information, and you're either going to crumble or you're going to rise to it. And that's why I do it that way. I'm testing your metal. I'll test your metal. If you got it, you'll do it. I may even talk to you again.
Beautiful. So it took 90 minutes to get this golden nugget from you.
You should have started with that. Forget that childhood stuff. That's ancient history.
No, but thank you for taking the time today, because you let me know a little bit more about you, what matters to you. And I got to tell you, when you started talking about how you give more than you're asked for, you lit up, my friend. Your face was like, I do this, and it was beautiful to see, because a lot of people are not that passionate, and they're just in it for the buck, right? You're in it to make a difference in people's lives, because if you help one person and their business grows exponentially, you're helping their community wherever they're doing that business. So you're not just helping that one, you're helping many. So congratulations for what you're doing. And I think that you just gave me a golden nugget. You think this would be a good idea to use with speaking prowess for the instructors, right? I think it would be cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think people like, our movement is to help 10,000 business owners create freedom, profit, and impact in their business. That's what I want to do. And that 10,000, just like you said, Sifu, you don't stop at 10,000. That goes home. That then goes in the community. You are affecting millions of people. But showing people how to escape the owner prison, how to create real freedom, profit, and impact in their business, that's what changes their lives. Because they're stuck in a lane that they can't get out of. They're on a hamster wheel. And getting them free of that you're right. I light up on that stuff. That's what I love doing.
Wow. Incredible. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. And I know you've been on some of my other shows, and I know you're going to come on some more. I am loving the conversation that you and I are having, the camaraderie that we're building. So let's keep doing it. I'm
in. Whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Likewise. Everybody have an exceptional day. Make sure to catch us again. Ready?